starting with the ownership. The owner of the Philadelphia 76ers is Ed Snyder, and he's been with the Sixers and the Flyers and a lot of the Philly sports teams for a while. He's the owner of Comcast Spectacle, which is really big in the Philly area. It has a bunch of different things in it, such as Comcast Sportsnet, which is the major local TV station around here. So he has been a pretty good owner so far, like nothing wrong with him. So our GM is Ed Stefanski. He's going into his third season as our GM. And before that, he had nine seasons as a GM with the New Jersey Nets, and he's done okay so far. He's made some decent transactions, but he's also made some pretty bad ones. So he's just been average for us. And our president, who was just signed this year, our new president is Rod Thorne. He was 10 years as the Nets GM, and this is his first year as the president of the Philadelphia 76ers. So I'm not sure how he's going to be. Supposedly he did a decent job with the Nets, so I'm hoping he can come to the Sixers and do a good job for us. So our head coach, which is also new this year because Eddie Jordan last year did not do obviously nearly as good as expectations were, so he was fired, and now a new head coach, Doug Collins, was hired. Before he was hired for the Sixers job, he had 8 seasons with the Chicago Bulls, the Detroit Pistons, and the Washington Wizards. And with those 3 teams, he made the playoffs 5 out of the 8 years. And he made the conference finals once. He made it to the second round once, and he made it to the first round 3 times. So he has had some very good success in the NBA. He hasn't made it to the NBA finals or anything like that. He still has had some pretty good success in the playoffs. And he does have obviously very good experiences. He's had 8 years in the coaching in the NBA, but he hasn't coached since the 02-03 season. So we're going to see maybe how rusty he is with coaching, if he's as good now as he was back then. But I think he's going to do a very solid job. Now our assistant coaches. Aaron McKee, he's the only returning assistant coach. The rest, Brian James, Quinn Snyder, Michael Curry, are all new, just like Doug Collins. So, and as I said, Aaron McKee is the only returning assistant coach. So we have 4 assistant coaches. And last year, the Sixers obviously did not have a very good year. They were a lottery team. They went 27-55 with a .329 winning percentage. Obviously, not very good. One of the worst in the NBA. Well, I wouldn't say one of the worst in the NBA, but one of the worst in the Eastern Conference. So they were 4th out of 5 in the division, with only the Nets behind them. They finished 13th out of 15 in the East, and only the Wizards and the Nets were worse, which is pretty much telling you how bad the Sixers were last year. They were not a very good team last year. The only major free agent signing that they got was Tony Battier, and I'll explain more about him later. Okay, so they made a pretty significant trade in the trade market. They made 2. Their first one, this was the biggest one. They traded Samuel Dallenberg, their starting center of many years, and they got back Spencer Hawes and Andres Nocioni. Spencer Hawes is going to be their starting center. So overall, I think that is a good trade for the Sixers. I'm going to tell you more about Spencer Hawes and Andres Nocioni in a little bit. And another trade they did was they traded Royale Ivy, who he didn't really do much for us. He was mainly a role player. He was mostly on the bench. He got in the game occasionally. But we got back Jody Meeks, who I will also tell you a bit about. So with the 2nd pick in the NBA draft, we got Evan Turner out of Ohio State. Now this kid is going to have significant and very high expectations. So I'm really hoping, same thing with all of Philly, we're all hoping that he's going to live up to his expectations and play great. I'm going to tell you more about him later. Okay, so now let's get into the 14 players top to bottom and their salaries. So first is Elton Brand, making $16 million a year, the most on the Sixers. Elton Brand. He is a fairly solid player. He's a power forward, but I really don't think he is worth $16 million. He was heavily overpaid, heavily hyped, way too much hyped. In his first year with the Sixers, making $16 million, people were expecting him to be great, getting the Sixers past the first round, being an all-star. He did none of that. He was just an average power forward that was getting decent numbers, but not 16 million numbers. So in my opinion, he has been a big disappointment overall. He's still a solid player, yes, but he is not worth $16 million. Next on our list, Andre Iguodala making $12.3 million a year. He is by far the leader on the team, the best player on the team, and he's making $3.7 million less than Elton Brand, but he's much better than Elton Brand. So obviously, as I said, he's the leader on the team. He's our all-star of the team. He's the player that everyone knows. All NBA fans know him. So his ups are he's great at slashing. He's obviously a very good dunker, as he should have won the NBA slam dunk contest a while back. And as I said, he's great at slashing. He's obviously very good at driving, and he's very good at defense too. But his weakness is his shooting. He's not had the greatest mid-range shot, and his three-point shot is pretty bad to be honest. But he is obviously our best player. He's incredibly athletic, so he's definitely our best player and our team leader. Now, next on the list, dropping down from 12.3 million to 6.9 million with Andres Nocioni. We picked him up from the Kings, obviously in the trade, Samuel Dalembert, and we got Spencer Hawes as well. So Andres Nocioni, he is getting older. He's not as good as he used to be, but he still has a very solid shot, a great very solid three-point shot, and a very solid mid-range shot as well. He is also a solid rebounder, and he's a solid defender, and he has also been known to play dirty, which I guess can be good. I mean, if the refs don't see, it doesn't really matter that much. You're just helping the team out, right? Okay, but he is getting a little older, so he's not going to be expected to do as much as before. He's definitely going to be coming off the bench. He's not going to be one of our top bench players. He's definitely going to get some minutes and get some time. I have no doubt about that. And then next on the list is Jason Kapono, making $6.6 million a year. And this guy was brought to the Sixers to shoot three-pointers. And last year, for some reason, he did not get very much playing time at all. And the playing time he got, he was okay, but he did not really impress me with his three-point shooting at all. I'm really hoping that he can do a lot better because that's what he's known for, his three-point shot. He used to be the top three-point shooter in the NBA now, and he's still generally considered to be one of the top 5 three-point shooters in the NBA, as he has won three-point shootouts and all that stuff. So I'm really hoping he gets back to his normal self and can shoot the three. Yep, so that's basically all about Jason Kapono. Now on to Lou Williams, making $5.4 million a year. So for the past few years, he's been our starting point guard, and he's done okay there, but that's really not his natural position. His natural position is shooting guard because he does not have the great passing instincts, and the great overall instincts that point guards have to have. He's not very good in that category. He's good in other categories that are obviously good for shooting guards because he's good at shooting. So Lou Williams, he's definitely a natural shooting guard, not a point guard. He can be used at point guard though, but he's not the ideal option for point guard. Next on the list, making $4.6 million a year is Evan Turner, and he's obviously our second overall draft pick of 2010, the superstar out of Ohio State. So he's a great mid-range shooter. That's one of his great attributes. He's also an outstanding ball handler, close to point guard ball handling skills. And he is also a very solid rebounder for his size. Now, the only main things he really needs to work on is his three-point shot. He does not have the greatest three-point shot. And turnovers. He commits way too many turnovers. He really needs to cut down on that. But I feel, as most people do, that Evan Turner is going to be able to contribute immediately to our team. Now, Willie Green. Willie Green is making $4.0 million a year. He's very explosive. He can drive to the rim. He can shoot. He's better than an average shooter. So that's basically all on Willie Green. He's a shooting guard. Now down to Spencer Hawes. He's making $3.0 million a year. He's the biggest player on our team. 7 foot. Got him from the Kings in a trade. He has a very strong face-up game. Very strong. But his problem is he shies away from contact and he's not that strong, so he needs to work on that. Now Thaddeus Young, making $2.9 million a year. He's a small forward. He's still very young, in his early 20s. First round draft pick a few years ago. He's a good size for a small forward. He has good athleticism, very good length. He's still, but I still think he's learning basketball because he makes a decent amount of mistakes. So he's going to get smarter in the game. He's going to become a very solid player. Then we have Jason Smith making $2.2 million a year, and he was injured a lot of last year, but he got to play some last year. And from what I saw, he seemed pretty good. He did solid while he was in the game, even though he didn't play much because they're conservative with his injury. But he's a solid player for $2.2 million, but he's not going to get a huge amount of playing time either. Then there's Maurice Spates making $1.8 million a year. He's a power forward. He can play center too. He's very athletic. He has long arms and he's a big shot blocker. He's not a great point player, but he can get rebounds and he's the Sixers' energy. When he comes off the bench, he energizes the team and gets them going again. And then we have Drew Holiday making $1.6 million a year. He is very young. He's a point guard. He has great defensive potential, and he will most likely be our starting point guard for the following year. And he was our first rounder in '09, so he is a very solid player. He's still young, so he has a lot of room for improvement. Then we have Tony Battier. We signed him as a free agent, and for $1.4 million a year, he's going to be a decent role player. He's nothing special. His great attribute is he's an outstanding defensive player, and he's a decent mid-range shooter. So he'll be a pretty solid role player for us. And then we got Jody Meeks for $0.8 million, $800,000. And since he's new, I could not find much on Jody Meeks. All I know is that he played college ball at Kentucky. He was with the Bucks prior to being on the Sixers. There was not much information on him. He probably will not get much playing time anyways. So our total payroll is $69.4 million. That's 9th out of 30 teams in highest payroll. Higher than the Jazz, Thunder, Heat, Cavs, Spurs, Hawks. We're all very good teams. So even though we have a very high payroll, we don't have a very high caliber of a team, but we still have a solid team, a decent team. And obviously our star player is Andre Iguodala, as he averages most points on our team. He's an all-star player. He's very athletic, and he's our team leader. So he's the heart and soul of our team. And these are our projected starters for day one. For the very first game, point guard, Drew Holiday. Shooting guard, Evan Turner. Small forward, Andre Iguodala. Power forward, Elton Brand. And center, Maurice Spates. But that may change at center. Spencer Hawes may be playing most of the year at center, starting. But as for the first game, most people think Maurice Spates is going to be starting. Our key reserves are Thaddeus Young, Lou Williams, possibly Spencer Hawes if he doesn't start, and Willie Green. They all used to be starters, Thaddeus Young, Lou Williams, and Willie Green, but with some additions, now they're not starters anymore. And role players, the rest, role players that are going to be solid role players, Jason Capono, Andres Nocioni, and Jason Smith. And our bench warmer is not going to get much playing time, Jody Meeks. And team needs, we really badly need three-point shooting, very badly. We have been among the worst in the NBA in three-point shooting the past several years, and we also need a solid post presence and an elite scorer. Okay, so the state of our franchise. We are basically a team that is capable of making the playoffs, but not very high. And we're not so bad that we're lottery anymore, but we're not going to make a high playoff seed if we make the playoffs. I project that the Sixers are going to win 41 games, which is pretty good. It's 500. They may be above 500 slightly, but they're a lot better than 27 wins, which is what they got last year. Okay, this is my season projection for them. I think they're going to make the 8th seed in the East in the playoffs, but they're going to lose in the first round to the Heat for the first seed. Okay, so this is basically my taste on the Philadelphia 76ers. Hope you liked it.